These strawberries aren't ready to pick yet, but I am growing them in flood trays, and that means I don't have to dig into the ground, and I'm on a pretty steep slope here right next to an abandoned lot, so it's not the best area to be planting strawberries, but it's working for me. Look how many I'm getting already this year. Traditionally, strawberries are grown in mounds in commercial fields, and when they're grown that way, well, they have to kill the soils first because strawberries are pretty sensitive. When they're sitting on the soil, they can rot or they can be eaten by bugs. So gardeners are always looking for ways to get around that so that their plants are growing up above the ground and not in the ground or on the ground. Well, in a home garden, that's pretty tricky, but I'm using these flood trays as suggested by Dean in Saskatchewan. I'm really excited about it. Dean suggested I use the root pouches, which are a fabric bag, and I planted the strawberries into the bags a couple of years ago. And because I'm in a milder climate here on the west coast, they can actually overwinter. If I was in a colder climate, I would have to replant the strawberries every year. Some varieties of strawberries really sucker, so they send down sprouts that are going to race away from the plants. But this one, called TriStar, stays pretty compact in its bag, and it tastes good too, so I really like that. So TriStars don't take a lot of work. What I do in the spring is I top dress with a little bit of manure, and I like to get composted manure, and I like that because it will inoculate the strawberries. Now remember, this is just the opposite of what commercial growers are doing. They're trying to kill everything in the soil, cover it with plastic, and use irrigation pipes underneath. And what that does is make sure that the soils are completely sterile before you plant your strawberries. But I want to have a lively condition here. I want my strawberries to be growing in compost-rich soil. Flood trays are just a homemade plastic liner for this wooden box, and that allows us to hold the water so that they don't become too full or too dry at any one time. If you don't have a flood tray, you can also use a plant tray. A plant tray just lets the plant, it's just an ordinary plant tray that you get from a garden center that is for sale for most. I'm lucky my husband's an engineer, and he's come up with a system that lets us actually drain these flood trays. So he's hooked up the boxes to a piece of hose, and when we just simply tip the hose over, it drains. Easy does it. If you want to grow your own strawberries, you don't have to have a big acreage. And don't worry if you get the variety that spreads by suckers. Look what I've got here. All kinds of strawberries that have spread to the ground. They're tremendous, and they're almost ready.